Jacob Collins, a single father of two, was just trying to survive another chaotic Sunday with his kids at the small diner on Maple Street. His youngest, Lily, had been cranky after her soccer game, and Ethan, the older one, was busy stacking jelly packets into a leaning tower. Jacob was exhausted, unshaven, and had ordered a large black coffee just to make it through the day. But then he saw it. The waitress, small-framed, with tired eyes and a polite smile, had accidentally knocked over a glass while handing over a menu. Her hand shook as she tried to mop up the mess, and she apologized repeatedly. Jacob had initially chalked it up to nerves or maybe being overworked. But when he looked past her, to a man in a suit sitting at the corner booth, something didn't sit right. That man had a clenched jaw and a cold stare directed only at her. Jacob watched the waitress retreat quickly after the spill, shoulders slightly hunched. He didn't know it yet, but that was the first sign. Jacob had spent the last few years raising his kids alone after his wife passed away from cancer. He had learned how to read people, not just because he had to take care of Ethan and Lily, but because grief had taught him how fragile and unspoken pain could be. He knew the look of someone silently enduring something heavy. He kept watching. The second sign came when the man beckoned her over with a snap of his fingers. Not a call, not a wave, just a snap, as if she were a pet. Jacob's jaw tightened. The waitress, whose name tag read Maya, moved toward the man quickly, eyes lowered. Ethan asked about pancakes. Lily wanted more syrup. Jacob nodded absent-mindedly but kept his eyes on the interaction unfolding. Maya stood still, nodding as the man leaned in close, too close. She flinched when he whispered something. Her shoulders stiffened. She gave a nervous smile, nodded again, and hurried off. The third sign was when she returned with his order, and he grabbed her wrist. Not hard, but enough that she had to tug slightly to free herself. It only lasted a second, but it was long enough. No one else seemed to notice. The restaurant buzzed with weekend chatter. No one saw Maya's eyes flicker in fear. Jacob's heart raced. He knew he couldn't jump to conclusions. Maybe they knew each other. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But something about the way Maya kept glancing at the door, at her watch, at her manager with pleading eyes, he knew that look. He'd seen it in the mirror during his worst days, after Rachel died. The look of someone silently screaming. The fourth sign came when Maya accidentally dropped a receipt. As she bent down to pick it up, the man behind her leaned in again, muttering something that made her tense and back away. She walked straight into a waitress carrying a tray, causing another spill. Her manager, an older woman in a vest, scolded Maya quietly, shaking her head. Maya just nodded and apologized again. The man in the suit smirked. Jacob couldn't take his eyes off him now. Ethan asked, "Dad, are you okay?" Jacob forced a smile. "Yeah, buddy. Just thinking." The fifth and final sign was the most painful to watch. The man got up to leave and waited near the counter. Maya was helping another customer. As soon as she was free, he motioned for her to come outside. She hesitated. Her hands trembled as she wiped them on her apron. Her face paled, and for a second, she looked like she might run. But then she looked at her manager again, who was busy with another customer, and slowly walked toward the front door. Jacob stood. "Dad?" Ethan said again, but Jacob was already moving. He didn't think. He didn't plan. His feet just moved. As Maya stepped outside, Jacob followed. The man in the suit was already talking to her, and though Jacob couldn't hear everything, he heard one thing clear as day. "You know what happens if you don't listen to me." Maya shook her head and looked down. "Please, I need this job. I'll get the money. Just give me more time." Jacob's heart stopped. Blackmail. Debt. Or worse. He stepped between them. She's not going anywhere with you. The man looked Jacob up and down, amused. Mind your own business, hero. I am making it my business, Jacob said calmly but firmly. She clearly doesn't want to talk to you. The man stepped forward, lowering his voice. You don't know what she owes me. Jacob didn't back down. I don't care. This ends here. He glanced at Maya. Do you want him to leave? Tears welled in her eyes. She nodded silently. That was all he needed. Jacob turned back and said, Leave. Now. Or I call the police. Actually, I think I'll do that anyway. The man scowled, muttered something under his breath, and finally stormed off. Jacob stayed there until he was out of sight. Maya collapsed onto the curb, covering her face with her hands. I didn't know what to do, she whispered. He said he'd ruin me. Jacob crouched beside her. You don't have to do this alone. No one should ever make you feel powerless. Later, after talking with the manager and the police, it came out that the man had been harassing Maya for weeks, showing up uninvited, threatening her, claiming she owed him for something her ex had done. She'd been too afraid to report it, worried she'd lose her job or be blamed. Jacob gave his statement and even offered to testify if needed. That night, as he tucked Lily into bed, Ethan asked, Dad, why did you talk to that guy? Jacob looked at his son and smiled faintly. Because sometimes, being brave means standing up, not just for yourself, but for someone who can't. In the end, Maya filed for a restraining order. The man was investigated for multiple harassment claims. And she kept her job, with a little more support and understanding from her manager and co-workers. Jacob and his kids became regulars at the diner. Every Sunday, they'd sit at Maya's table, and each time, her smile grew a little.